G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And thanks to the generosity of my viewers, I've had the pleasure of driving just about every single modern hot hatch on the market. The Audi RS3, both generations of the latest turbo Civic Type R, Renault Megane RS, Hyundai i30N and Golf R. And all of them were very good in their own right, but around the world, a lot of people hail the Ford Focus RS as one of the best driving hot hatches around. And today, we're here to see if that's the case. Ford absolutely nailed the exterior styling on this car. It came out even before the FK8 Civic Type R, when everything was going more and more aggressive, unlike back in the day when hot hatches barely looked more sporty than the standard model on which they were based. The 19-inch wheels are a simple design, all black with a little RS logo embossed on the side. The spoiler is big, but it's not obnoxious, and the large twin exhausts at the back look really cool. Overall, it is a fantastic looking car, especially in the blue paint. The engine is a 2.3 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's quite interesting actually that Ford went with a 4-cylinder in this, given the previous model Focus RS had a 5-cylinder. But despite the 4-cylinder engine, it's certainly not down on power. It's got 257 kilowatt or 340 horsepower and 440 newton meters, which is a hang of a lot more than the Civic Type R, the Corolla GR and the i30N. It's going through a very complicated four-wheel drive system that across the different drive modes is capable of sending almost all of the power to the rear end in drift mode, or in track mode have it split 50-50. And of course it has a 6-speed manual transmission, as it should with it being a hot hatch. The interior has some good bits and some bad bits. If we get the bad things out of the way, the seats, while they hold you in very well, are extremely thin and hard. The transmission is quite heavy, which I'm not a huge fan of. I like a sort of a lighter, more direct throw, and with it being a sort of late 2010s era Ford, the build quality inside is not exactly amazing. Things like the indicator stalks actually feel quite good, but a lot of the buttons down here for the climate control and so on, and just the kind of creaky, weird shiny plastic here in the middle, and the gauges over here on the dash, like when the whole dashboard kind of moves and squelches and makes creaking noises and so on. And there's a terrible dash rattle on this particular example. If we move back to the good things, the steering wheel feels really good. It's that typical squishy Ford leather that all of the cars from this era had. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth built-in navigation that works really well, and it has dual zone climate control. It's got drive modes down here. You can have it in normal, sport, track or drift mode. The gauges, I must admit, look pretty decent and show all the information that you need, but it's just let down a little bit by the build quality in certain places and the really hard seats, which it doesn't need. It's a fun, fast car, but it's not like a purpose-built track-only vehicle, so it doesn't need these aggressive track seats in my mind. But overall, I would say that it's pretty good, and I would be happy to own and live with an interior like this. Driving the Hocus Pocus Ford Focus. Turn on my launch control. And I'm not gonna lie, this thing is a impressive car. I love the sound and the occasional pops and crackles from the back end. It's just nice, you know, it's not obnoxious, but there's just a little bit there to let you know, hey, this is, you know, it's a hot hatch, right? What do you expect? Handling is really impressive, and the four-wheel drive system just sorts it out. It's quite remarkable how well it goes through all these corners. And it's cool too, because look, it's got adaptive lights, so as you turn the wheel, the lights kind of follow the road as well. The engine is a masterpiece. It sounds great, it has very good power, very little turbo lag. You know, if you put your foot down, within half a second you've got pretty much full boost. The throttle response is perfect. Clutch engagement is beautiful, steering feel is excellent. I must admit it has an appalling turning circle, but when you don't need to turn full lock and you're just on a road like this, the steering feel itself is fantastic, man. Really good. You just know exactly what the front end is doing, and the car just grips and goes through corners, eh? You put your foot down, foot to the floor. Look at that. Four-wheel drive just sorts it out perfectly. Is it the best hot hatch you ever made? No. I do really like it, but there's a few things that take it from being, you know, a 10 out of 10 to maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for me. The first thing is the brakes. It's really hard to heel toe because that first section is really soft. You have to be so like precise with your foot, because if you're a little bit too aggressive on the brakes, then as you heel toe it just bang like on the brakes at the same time. I must admit, it doesn't feel like it makes 257 kilowatt. There are some cars that you put your foot down and they're, oh yeah, no, this thing is making every bit of the power it makes. Was this, like, it's pretty quick, but I'd love to roller race it against an FL5 Civic Type R, which in theory is 22 kilowatt down and 20 newton meters. But I don't think the FL5 would be left in the dust. And I think it's just because it's four-wheel drive and because it's quite heavy, there's a lot of drivetrain loss, and it just, you know, it goes all right, but it's not putting you in your seat, you know? And then there's the terrible turning circle, the ride quality and the seat comfort, which just makes it an annoying car to live with every day. I don't want to give it a scathing review. The steering feel is great. I love the engine sound. I love the way it looks. The pops and crackles are really cool. It responds immediately to your inputs. You know, you put your foot down, now, bang, we're on the move. The occasional pops and crackles are really fun, and there's no denying that it is a quick car. A passenger angel here, if you were to sum it up in a sentence. Nice to look at, decently fast, and terribly uncomfortable. That's not a bad review, actually. That's probably how I'd sum it up too. So thanks very much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.